There is a principle older than any government, any institution, any law written in books, and it is this. Every human being becomes the architect of his own destiny the moment he accepts full dominion over the inner world of thought. This is not philosophy for the faint of heart. This is not an idea to entertain while sipping tea in the comfort of indecision. This is the foundation of all power, all achievement, all transformation. If you are not yet in possession of what you desire, it is not the fault of fate, nor luck, nor market, nor timing. It is the direct result of a mind left undisciplined. You do not need permission to win. You need command. You do not need to be lucky. You need to be intentional. You do not need better feelings. You need better thoughts and the mastery to rule over them like a sovereign rules over a kingdom. It is easy to speak of success in the light of temporary motivation. But the man who gets whatever he wants is not built from momentary flame. He is forged in the fire of inner dominion. The woman who gets whatever she wants does not beg for clarity. She creates it through decision, precision, and the elimination of all mental noise. Let us begin with the root of your limitations, emotional reactivity. The man who reacts loses. The woman who reacts submits. The mind that reacts is owned not by the individual, but by the environment. Most men walk through life enslaved, and they do not know it, not by chains on their wrists, but by unchecked emotion gripping their thoughts. They are prisoners of how they feel, never rising beyond what the day offers them emotionally. They are victims of mood, beggars for validation, worshipers of circumstance. But let me make this known to you with the authority of natural law. If you allow emotions to govern your actions, you forfeit your power. But if you command your thoughts, you command your future. This is the great dividing line between the successful and the unsuccessful, between the powerful and the passive, between the sovereign and the slave. You must become emotionally detached, not as an act of cruelty, but as a stance of clarity. Emotional detachment is not the absence of heart. It is the presence of mind. It is the art of not being ruled by what you feel, but guided by what you know. To get what you want in life, whatever it may be, money, peace, love, influence, legacy, you must first take hold of the one arena you can fully dominate, your inner world. If you fail to control that, nothing else you touch will last. Because your results are not products of effort alone, they are the echoes of your dominant thoughts. You are not the victim of your emotions, you are the author of them. This is where we separate the dreamers from the builders, the thinkers from the executors, the followers from the few who lead themselves first. You cannot lead a business, a family, a cause, if you cannot lead your emotions. You cannot command wealth if you cannot command your thoughts. You cannot build legacy if you still ask your feelings for permission to act. So I ask you now, have you mastered yourself, or do you still obey yourself at your lowest? Because that is the root question. Now let us speak of the principle most neglected in modern civilization, the virtue so few honor, the code upon which all success is built, discipline. Discipline is the tool by which you reshape identity. It is not passion. It is not excitement. It is not inspiration. It is repetition of command. It is the soul saying to the body, you will obey the vision, not the feeling. If you rely on emotion to move, you will only act when it's easy. But the disciplined man acts especially when it is not easy, because he understands the law. Every act of discipline is a brick laid in the foundation of greatness. Every surrender to emotion is a crack formed in that same structure. The one who gets what they want builds habitually. They wake not for pleasure, but for purpose. They train not for applause, but for clarity. They speak not to impress, but to affirm identity. Discipline is not just waking early. It is saying to your mind, you exist to serve the mission, not to wander into moods, not to replay old fears, not to chase dopamine. You must own this down to your bones. Every time you let a thought live rent-free in your head that contradicts your purpose, you pay with your future. Every time you allow an emotion to dictate your response, you cheapen your destiny. You want to know how to get whatever you want? You must become the kind of person who no longer reacts to life, but issues commands to it with precision, discipline, detachment, and deep emotional control. You want money? Then discipline your impulses. You want peace? Then discipline your attention. You want influence? Then discipline your expression. You want freedom? Then discipline your choices. Everything you want is on the other side of who you have the discipline to become. But you cannot become what you refuse to train. And that training begins with thought. Let me now take you deeper into the chamber where most will never go, the realm of deliberate thought selection. Most people live with no thought hygiene. Their mind is a public square, open to the noise of the world, the pollution of the past, and the infection of trivial fears. Their mind is vulnerable, scattered, undirected, and so their results are the same. But thought is not entertainment, it is engineering. You do not think because it feels good. You think because it builds. And the disciplined builder chooses thought like an architect chooses steel. You say, how do I build a new identity? I say, begin by thinking only the thoughts that serve your definite purpose and cut everything else to the ground. Do not entertain what weakens you. Do not ponder what insults your mission. Do not repeat what shrinks your spirit. Every thought must be inspected. Every belief must be questioned. Every internal conversation must be edited. And this is where you begin to invoke the sacred tool of mastery, autosuggestion. Autosuggestion is not positive thinking. It is psychological warfare declaring truth into the subconscious until it obeys. You speak not to feel good, but to program reality. Say to yourself daily, I do not react, I respond. I am the calm in the chaos. I am the master of my direction. My discipline creates my destiny. My vision is not up for debate. You say it when you don't believe it until belief bends beneath repetition. You say it when you're tired until your mind awakens to your voice. You say it when doubt screams until your new identity drowns out the old noise. Because identity is not found. It is not given. It is trained. It is sculpted through fire, solitude, silence, clarity, and absolute emotional command. And only the few ever step far enough to realize your greatest enemy is not your environment, it is your reaction to it. Because the man who knows how to respond, not react, rules the world. Not with armies, not with money, but with clarity of mind and calm in action. When the masses panic, he plans. When the world screams, he listens. When chaos erupts, he remains still because he is not governed by the moment, he is governed by principle. Let us name that principle now. The law of mental neutrality. It is the power to observe without attachment, to see without surrendering judgment, to hold emotion in your hand like a surgeon holds a scalpel, not to feel it, but to use it. Mental neutrality is not apathy. It is not detachment for the sake of numbness. It is detachment for the sake of movement. It is the refusal to be imprisoned by your triggers, your wounds, your ego, your narratives. Imagine a general leading an army across rough terrain. He cannot afford to react every time the weather changes. He cannot break down because the enemy appears stronger. He must calculate, remain poised, and make decisions that win wars, not soothe feelings. This is your mind. You are the general. Your thoughts are your soldiers. And your feelings? They are temporary weather. Let them pass. Do not set up camp in the storm. Now listen carefully. If your peace is dependent on your environment, you are already a slave. Your power comes from your ability to generate clarity independent of the outside world. This means you must be able to create calm without silence. You must be able to summon courage without applause. You must be able to hold your vision without approval. And you must be able to move forward without a single drop of external motivation. Because everything you want in this life is on the other side of one decision, the decision to govern yourself first. Govern your mouth, speak only what reinforces your purpose. Govern your habits, execute only what aligns with your identity. Govern your focus, allow only what feeds your aim. Govern your emotions, feel, but do not fold. Now let us elevate to another level the power of calmness. Calmness is the highest expression of strength. Calmness is the posture of kings. Calmness is what intimidates the weak, attracts the wise, and commands respect without noise. To be calm is to have resolved your inner conflict. It is to have silenced the war between your lower impulses and your higher aim. It is to have trained your nervous system to bow before vision. If you can stay calm, you can solve problems. If you can stay calm, you can win negotiations. If you can stay calm, you can hear the whisper of your genius beneath the scream of the world. Calmness is not passivity. It is tactical silence. It is stillness that moves mountains. It is the eye of the hurricane where decisions are made, identities are formed, and legacies are born. And if you cannot remain calm, it is because you have not yet faced yourself fully. Because the noise is not out there. The noise is inside. It is your own unresolved thoughts, shouting over your purpose, your untrained mind panicking at the sight of pressure. Your emotional chaos masquerading as truth. But once you rule yourself, once you truly own your state, nothing external can move you. Now you begin to build with precision. You begin to walk with gravity. You begin to speak with weight, because you are no longer one of the many who react. You are one of the few who respond. And what is response? Response is conscious action rooted in clear thought. Reaction is impulse rooted in unresolved fear. Let me give you a truth so piercing that it cannot be ignored. You will never rise above the level of your emotional control. Not in business, not in relationships, not in wealth, not in purpose. You can read every book, attend every seminar, hire every coach, but if your feelings still decide your behavior, your results will always reflect your weakness. You must flip the order of operation. You must declare, from this day forward, my thoughts come first. My emotions follow. My actions obey. This is what I call the principle of thought first. Thought must lead. Emotion must be observed. And action must be executed with alignment, not with mood. If you live the other way around, feeling first, reaction second, chaos third, then you are not living. You are surviving. And survival will never make you rich. It will never bring peace. It will never deliver you to mastery. You must evolve. And evolution begins when you no longer let your feelings vote on your future. Now understand this. You will not become this kind of person by accident. It will require death. Yes, death. The death of the old you, the emotional you, the impulsive you, the you that made promises on Sunday and broke them by Tuesday, the you that knew better but did not act better. You must bury that version of yourself without ceremony, because that version cannot take you where you want to go. The version of you that gets what they want, wakes on time, moves with order, thinks with clarity, speaks with confidence, works with endurance, and does not betray themselves in the dark. You become that person by choice, by training, by repeating new patterns, until the old ones suffocate. This is the truth. No one will sell you because it cannot be packaged. You will not change by being inspired. You will not win by being emotional. You will not rise by being reactive. You will rise when you are done negotiating with weakness, when you are done taking days off from your discipline, when you are done explaining the gap between what you say you want and what you repeatedly choose. That is when you will begin to get whatever you want. You see, the average man drowns in his own noise. He fills every waking second with distraction, every free moment with stimulation, every impulse with reaction. He cannot sit still. He cannot observe himself. He cannot hear the signal beneath his addiction to external input. And so, he cannot know himself, only echo the chaos around him. But the man who will possess all that he desires, he is different. He honors silence. He fears no solitude. He withdraws not to escape, but to command, because it is in silence that the subconscious reveals what noise has buried. It is in silence that the mind detoxes from triviality and aligns with truth. It is in silence that discipline takes root. If you cannot sit in silence, you are not free. If your mind races the moment stimulation fades, you are not in control, you are chained. So I tell you this, make silence your first ritual. Make it your place of mental cleansing. Sit, breathe, think deliberately. Let every surface emotion burn off like fog beneath the rising sun. And when silence becomes your companion, clarity will become your weapon. You will begin to see what must be done, what must be stopped, what must be let go, and what must be executed with precision today, not tomorrow. Now, we must address a concept rarely spoken of in public, but known to every man and woman of extraordinary success. Emotional detachment is not coldness. It is efficiency. It is the refusal to carry weight that does not move you forward. It is the practice of observing emotional impulses and asking, does this serve my definite purpose? If it does not, it is dropped, not processed endlessly, not discussed endlessly, dropped, because your energy is sacred, and your time is sacred, and your attention is the currency by which you purchase your future. You cannot afford to invest in guilt. You cannot afford to invest in validation. You cannot afford to invest in pleasing the mediocre to avoid your own potential. There is only one investment that pays eternal dividends: self-command. And you build it not by winning arguments, but by winning your mornings. Not by managing people, but by managing your focus. Not by controlling others, but by controlling your reaction to them. This is what I meant when I said, get whatever you want. It is not magic, it is not privilege, it is precision in thought plus violence in execution plus calm in identity. You will not be given what you want. You will become the person who cannot be denied it. Because the universe, God, the laws of cause and effect, they do not reward need. They reward alignment. The man who becomes pure in thought, ruthless in action, calm in emotion, and definite in purpose is the man to whom all doors open. Now we must face a truth that very few have the stomach to digest. Success does not care how you feel. It does not comfort you. It does not soothe your mood. It does not wait for you to be ready. It bows only to the mind that has declared war on weakness. And you must declare that war now. You must look at the pieces of yourself that you have pampered, the laziness, the inconsistency, the mental clutter, the emotional overreactions, and you must annihilate them. Not with guilt, with authority. Because the moment you stop giving your emotions the steering wheel, you begin to move like a god among men. You wake with command. You speak with weight. You act with clarity. And you execute without delay. No longer chasing. No longer proving. Just building. Just rising. Just enforcing who you have decided to become. And that, my friend, is how you get whatever you want. Then we move forward without retreat, without apology, without delay. Because to become the kind of man or woman who gets whatever they want, you must break a sacred agreement you've been taught since childhood. The agreement that your feelings are facts. They are not. Your feelings are habits of perception. They are echoes of past programming. They are shadows on the cave wall, not the fire itself. And if you let them dictate your life, you will spend it reacting instead of creating. You will waste decades managing moods when you could be mastering outcomes. So I will tell you now, you must develop a mind so governed by principle that feelings become suggestions, not commands. Background noise, not orders. Information, not identity. This is the point at which the transformation becomes irreversible. Because once you realize that the average man is a slave to how he feels, you begin to take possession of a power so rare it is mistaken for divinity. Not because you are without emotion, but because you are no longer ruled by it. You must train your mind to operate like an elite machine. And what does a machine do? It does what must be done regardless of mood. It follows law, not impulse. It delivers outcomes, not explanations. And the human being who adopts this level of precision becomes unrecognizable to those who still serve emotion like a god. They will call you cold. Let them. They do not understand that coldness, when guided by purpose, becomes clarity. That calmness, when forged by discipline, becomes power. That detachment, when fused with direction, becomes invincibility. So here is your next law. Feel everything. Obey nothing, observe all. Execute only that which aligns with your highest aim. Let your feelings inform you, but never rule you. Let them visit, but never live with you. Let them knock, but never hold the keys. You are the gatekeeper now, and you guard your mind with violence. Yes, violence. Not against others, but against your own excuses. Not against people, but against every whisper of weakness that tries to reclaim your throne. Because you are now at war with your old self. And this war is not metaphorical, it is mental warfare. Every old habit is a traitor. Every outdated belief is an intruder. Every emotional indulgence is an attack on your future. And you, my friend, are the only one who can defend your potential from annihilation. You cannot delegate this war. You cannot hire someone to fight it for you. You cannot read your way out of it. You must confront it daily until your mind obeys you like a soldier takes orders in the trenches. This is how you build identity. Not by journaling it, by living it. Not by feeling it, by enforcing it. Not by hoping for it, by becoming it repeatedly until there is no version of you left who ever needed to be convinced. Because a person with mastery does not perform, they are. And the moment you are, the world begins to bend. Not by magic, but by physics. You are no longer broadcasting confusion, you are projecting certainty. You are no longer scattered, you are a laser. And the universe does not resist a laser, it moves for it. Now let me give you a hard truth. You don't need to heal more. You need to act differently. You do not need to feel better about yourself. You need to become someone you can respect. That respect is earned not by affirmations alone, but by obedience to your highest commands. You say you want financial abundance, then your emotions cannot control your work ethic. You say you want peace, then your need for validation must die today. You say you want legacy, then build it brick by brick with habitual thought, habitual calm, and habitual discipline. You are not here to repeat cycles. You are not here to serve your wounds. You are here to design a reality that obeys your mind, but only if your mind is trained. So write this down, not on paper. In your subconscious, I am no longer emotional about my evolution. I am surgical. I no longer wait to feel ready. I command results through action. And I do not negotiate with fear. I override it through principle. I get what I want because I have become the one who cannot be denied. Let those words become your new creed. Let them echo in your mind when the world tests you. Let them silence your feelings when your old self rises to beg for comfort. Because from this moment forward, you are not just someone who wants. You are someone who becomes. You move first, you speak last, you think deeply, you react never. And when people ask how you did it, you say nothing. You smile. Because the truth is this: you didn't change to impress them. You changed because you were done betraying yourself. Your outer life is the proof of how well you have governed your inner one. You want to know what a man believes? Look at how he lives. Look at the order of his space, the sharpness of his habits, the precision of his speech, the consistency of his rituals, the calmness of his face when tested. You want to know what a woman truly values? Look at how she responds under pressure, how she speaks of herself when no one's listening, how she chooses who to allow near her energy. Forget declarations. Watch discipline. Forget emotion. Watch execution. Forget performance. Watch pattern. Because this world does not reward the loud. It does not obey the impulsive. It does not bend to those who merely feel inspired. It bends for the calmly deliberate, for the one who builds their inner world like a fortress stone by stone, morning by morning, breath by breath. The one who becomes immune to distraction because they are intoxicated by purpose. Let me say what you already know but have been afraid to act on. Your next level of success requires emotional death, the death of victimhood, the death of dramatized failure, the death of moods that derail movement, the death of identities you've clung to out of comfort, not alignment. And yes, it will hurt. It will feel like betrayal, because you have grown attached to patterns that kept you alive, even though they never allowed you to ascend. But you are no longer here to survive your life. You are here to command it into shape. That means you must kill every weakness you've coddled, every narrative that says, I'm just this way, every excuse dressed up as self-care, every time you claimed you needed more healing, more certainty, more permission. You need to make yourself unrecognizable to the version of you that keeps settling. You must become so detached from the old you that you walk past your reflection and do not flinch. You must build a mind so ordered, so focused, so trained that chaos becomes background music and peace becomes your default setting. And the only way to reach this? Repetition, ruthless, soul-shaping, identity-erasing repetition. You wake up and speak the new command before the world speaks to you. You act as your higher self, regardless of how you feel. You override the impulse to negotiate with your lower nature every hour, every day, until your mind accepts your authority as law. And you do this not to be motivated. You do it to be unmovable. Because the moment your discipline becomes instinct, you have already won. Before the world even responds, you've won. Before the results show, you've already aligned with the outcome. Before anyone understands your change, you've outgrown their language. This is not about making it someday. This is about becoming it now. And once you become it, you cannot be denied. You no longer try to attract success. You operate at a frequency that commands it. You no longer seek validation. Your internal consistency validates you. You no longer ask, how do I stay disciplined? You ask, how could I ever not be? Because when the inner world is ruled by vision and governed by principle, the outer world loses the power to intimidate you. Now I must say something to you that no one has dared whisper into your soul. You were never confused. You were just distracted. You were never broken. You were just emotionally led. You were never weak. You were just undisciplined in thought. And now that you see it, you cannot return. You cannot unknow this truth. You cannot unfeel this authority. You cannot and must not retreat. So expand further. Make your rituals stricter. Make your language cleaner. Make your vision so vivid that every emotional disruption looks like a pebble thrown at a tank. You must take this deeper now. Take your mornings back from chaos. Take your body back from indifference. Take your attention back from gossip, opinion, and overstimulation. Take your purpose back from the shadows where you left it during your years of hesitation. You do not need another permission slip. You need sovereignty over your mind. And that is not a gift. It is a discipline. It is a stance. It is a code of living so sharp that anything less than your highest standard cannot survive in your presence. And this ascent is not gentle. It is not poetic. It is not for those still seeking comfort. This ascent is violent, not with weapons, but with clarity so sharp it cuts through identity itself, with conviction so final it crushes every last whisper of hesitation. Because when a man truly decides that nothing inside of him will ever again betray his purpose, he becomes untouchable, not invincible to pain, untouchable by weakness, not immune to failure, untouchable by identity, collapse, not free from challenge, untouchable by emotional sabotage. And that is where you now stand, at the summit of the self, where there are no more tricks, no more tactics, no more hacks, only law, only command, only repetition of right thinking until there is no remnant of the past self left breathing. So listen to me, and listen with the weight of your entire nervous system. This is not about self-help. This is not about incremental change. This is total rewiring of the internal operating system. You are no longer human reacting to the world. You are human commanding it because you've conquered the only battlefield that ever mattered, your own mind. Now let me speak plainly. You will not get what you want by being good. You will get what you want by being sovereign. Sovereign over emotion. Sovereign over distraction. Sovereign over impulse. Sovereign over identity. You don't need to be liked. You need to be disciplined. You don't need to be validated. You need to be consistent. You don't need to be happy all the time. You need to be calm, focused, and ready. Because from now on, you do not speak unless your words serve your highest self. You do not think unless your thoughts build your next level. You do not feel unless the emotion fuels precision. You do not act unless it's aligned with power. This is the code. And the code is not a suggestion, it is your new nervous system. You must walk like a builder. You must sit like a king. You must train like a warrior. You must think like a general. And you must protect your mind like an empire that cannot be breached. Because once your internal environment is ruled by law, your external world becomes obedient. People will begin to follow your presence before they hear your voice. Opportunities will find you, not because you're lucky, but because you're aligned. Obstacles will crumble, not because they became easier, but because you became colder, calmer, clearer. Now take this final truth, tattoo it into your identity. You do not get what you dream of. You get what you command into being through disciplined thought, detached emotion, and violent execution. So from this moment forward, you will no longer tolerate delay. You will no longer consult your feelings before you move. You will no longer explain your decisions to anyone who hasn't built what you're building. You will get up earlier. You will think sharper. You will breathe slower. You will respond with strategy. You will act with power. And you will walk through this world like it belongs to those who've conquered themselves first. Because now you have burned the old self. You have silenced the noise. You have declared war on emotional fragility. You have reprogrammed the system. And what remains is something sacred, not a better you. A different species entirely. You are now a sovereign mind. You are now a calm executor. You are now a master of inner warfare. And you will get whatever you want, not because the world is easy, but because you are impossible to move. Now rise. Walk differently. Breathe differently. Think only what serves. Act only when aligned. And let your life become the sermon no man can ignore. We end by rising into the absolute final form of who you were always meant to be. You want longer? Good. Because real transformation isn't a line you cross. It's a line you burn so there's no way back. And now we light the match. You are no longer just a seeker of truth. You are truth in motion. You are the result of decisions most people never make, and the echo of habits most people will never understand. You don't live to prove yourself. You live to express what can no longer be denied within you. The world has taught you to be polite with your greatness, to explain your ambition, to soften your focus, to apologize for your intensity, to dilute your drive until it no longer threatens their comfort. But you are done, because you have spent too long asking for understanding when you were born for command. You have wasted too much time managing the insecurities of people who will never dare to evolve. And now, you give them silence, not to punish, but to protect your energy from small conversations, small minds, small visions. You will not return to the emotional habits that used to define you. You will not pace the floor replaying conversations. You will not hesitate because your body feels tired. You will not shrink because your old identity whispers for mercy. You will not sit in the church of overthinking, lighting candles for doubt. You will move. And when you move now, the ground will remember you were here. Because now, every breath is strategy. Every step is engineered. Every day is a sacred container for execution. From here on, you do not make decisions based on fear of loss. You make decisions based on alignment with your highest vision. You don't ask, what if I fail? You ask, what would my highest self do now? And then you do it, without flinch, without pause, without performance. Let others beg for certainty. You train your nervous system to breathe under uncertainty. Let others wait to feel ready. You act so consistently that readiness becomes your identity. Let others talk about change. You embody it. Because talk is delay, emotion is data, action is law. You no longer tolerate mental loops. You no longer rehearse trauma. You no longer perform your pain like it's art. You process it once, learn what you must, and move forward like time itself has been sharpened in your hands. And when the world asks, why are you so calm? You do not explain. You smile because you know they've never met someone who has mastered response in a world addicted to reaction. They've never encountered someone whose discipline is louder than their ego. They've never seen someone win quietly for years before making a sound. But they're seeing it now. You are not a project. You are a weapon of clarity. You are not a soul in recovery. You are a force that has finally remembered its laws. You do not require constant motivation because your system is designed to perform, not persuade. You do not require constant support because your identity is built on personal law, not emotional consensus. And when you slip because you will not spiral. You will adjust with precision. You will pivot with poise. You will re-enter the arena like you never left. Because one failure is nothing to a being trained to execute without apology. Let me say it again for your future self. You are not the storm. You are the architect of weather. You are not here to play the game. You are here to reshape the board. You are not here to get lucky. You are here to prove what happens when a mind becomes fully owned by its highest truth. This is not romantic. This is not poetic. This is non-negotiable sovereignty over the inner world. And it is from this throne that your outer world must now obey. So, when you walk out that door tomorrow, let them look. Let them wonder. Let them talk. Because something about you will be different now. They won't be able to describe it, but they'll feel it. The silence around you will say, I've trained too long to waste words. The calmness around you will say, I've buried versions of myself you couldn't survive one day with. The focus around you will say, I don't chase results. I drag them from the void with sheer discipline. And the discipline around you? It will be so pure, so undeniable, so final, it will terrify your old life into silence. This is how you get what you want. This is how you own your reality. This is how you end the debate between who you were and who you are now. And from this moment forward, you never again return to the old question, can I do this? Because now you live the answer. I've already become the person who gets it. I do not hopey. I enforce. I do not wait. I become. I do not rise with emotion. I rise with law. Now walk as if your mind is the axis on which your reality turns. Because now it is.